Okay, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here with us this morning. The Assembly Republicans are proud to announce this morning our cost of living package. And poll after poll has shown this is the number one issue for California voters, the cost of living. The number one question on Californians' minds is, how do I pay the bills in California? From housing costs to utility bills to gas. All these things have been spiking exponentially and is crushing family budgets. We need to do something. We need to act urgently on this issue, and Republicans are prepared to do so. Now, the Democrats talked a big game starting at the beginning of this year about affordability. Affordability is the issue. They're going to do something, but where are the bills? Where are the bills from Democrats actually reducing people's costs, right? Most of what we've seen is just things that are going to stop things from increasing more or increasing as much. We need cuts. We need to cut costs. And so that's what we as Republicans want to do. And we have packages, bills that we're introducing that do exactly that, from cutting utility costs to addressing housing costs to tips that people rely on. And why shouldn't we reduce and cut those taxes on tips here in California, just as they've been talking about doing at the federal level? All of these things are things that we can do to actually lower people's everyday costs. And again, Republicans are ready to do it. We hope that our Democratic colleagues will join us in passing these much needed measures to help everyday Californians. So without further ado, I'll first introduce my first colleague, Assemblyman Trita.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I feel so good to be here today. And first, I'd like to thank our leader for his leadership. And I want to thank all of my colleagues in Republican caucus for their dedication to come up with a solution to help everyone who lives in California. We are aware that affordability is the most critical issue for everyone in California, and that is the issue that my office, we have mainly focused for the last few years. And in last Friday, our office, we introduced AB 838. And in AB 838, we will provide much needed assistance to low and middle income renters. We all know that California is home of some of the most expensive rental market in the country, and due to the high cost of housing in the state, it is not uncommon for residents to spend a significant portion of their income on housing. Housing costs continue to significantly outpace income, especially for renters, and this disparity has made it increasingly difficult for Californians to afford housing, particularly those with low and moderate income. AB 838 would greatly increase for the joint and single filers tax credit, which have not been increased in 40 years, and for single filer, their tax credit would raise from $60 up to $1,000, and the joint filers credit would increase from $120 up to $2,000. So I believe AB 838 will give much needed relief to our most vulnerable population. So I hope that our community, the residents in California, to understand that we, Republicans, we work together, and we ask the Democrat to work with us to come up with a solution to help everyone who lives in California. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblyman Ta. And that is much needed relief for homeowners, this tax credit that would be available to our renters. And so next I'd like to invite up my colleague in the Assembly, Assemblyman Greg Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to talk about my bill, Assembly Bill 1219, the largest middle-class tax cut in state history. AB 1219 cuts California's personal income tax by 1% across the board. And yes, that would be the largest in state history. Californians are in an affordability crisis, in large part due to the tax burden. And we all know that California leads the nation in state tax burden. Our legislative analyst continues to express concerns about the number of Californians who are leaving the state as a threat to our budget. I live in the Coachella Valley, and one of the biggest reasons I ran for office was because too many of my friends and family were leaving the state. And they were taking their families and going to Nevada, Arizona, Tennessee, and it was because of the high costs in California, and particularly the taxes. So AB 1219 is our effort to provide real tax relief to California families. I serve on the Assembly Budget Committee, and in the context of the state budget, we ask whether or not the revenue projections are real. Assembly Republicans know where these revenues come from. They come from you, the hardworking people of California. Worse, when we have those revenue projections, we spend every dime. And when we get it wrong, we take from our reserves. In fact, this year the governor's budget calls for $7 billion from our reserves. Well, California families don't have the luxury of reserves. They're making hard choices every day. And in fact, Californians are struggling with credit card debt just to make ends meet. So AB 1219 will give Californians economic relief and making these choices a little bit easier. We can do better for the people of California, and Assembly Republicans are leading on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Wallace. And next up, we have Assemblymember Tom Lackey to talk about the low carbon fuel standard repeal.
Well, good morning, everybody. Excuse me. AB 12 is what I'm here to try to talk about, and it's a bill that repeals the governor's low carbon fuel standard cost, which would raise the cost of gas by up to 65 cents a gallon. I had the opportunity to speak to CARB and beg them to not activate this projected cost on our commuters, because let me tell you something. In the district that I live in, we have over half our population that is in a commuter situation. Many of them over 100 miles a day. So just try to calculate the fact that gas prices are up, have been up over $1.50 a gallon since Newsom took office. And we're also $1.40 already, $1.40 a gallon above the national average. Think of how that's translating into budgets and the cost that it's mounting to our residents. You know, I think something that most people don't even realize, what do you think the average car is worth that are being driven by our California population? It's been determined that it's $5,000 or less. So obviously affordability is a big, big issue in their home budgets. And I find it irresponsible when leadership is not taking in consideration the fact that people are truly struggling. And these are not people going on vacation. These aren't people that are driving a distance just to be entertained. This is so they can support their homes, their families, sometimes both parents working. So there's all sorts of difficulties associated with this cost of living. It's not just convenience, it's survival. And why aren't we being more sensitive to survival? We're not being good leaders if we're not taking that into consideration. And this AB 12 just asks for a reasonable request. Put it on hold. Because what's the trade-off for this raised increase in cost? A lot of people like to use this green standard, which everybody wants clean air and clean water. But how's that translating? Are we really getting cleaner air? Are we really getting cleaner water? I argue that that's arguable. Please, let's be reasonable. And AB 12 is a reasonable request. Just put this increase on hold. It's already way above affordable circumstances, and now we're going to increase it so that we can make our air and water cleaner. Prove to me that that's accomplishing that goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember. And that really goes to the point of reining in these bureaucracies, these agencies that keep raising our costs. CARB is certainly one of those. And they have said, even though this LCFS update was just stalled by the Office of Administrative Law, CARB is telling everyone they're going to continue to move forward with it anyway. And again, up to 65 cents a gallon added to our high gas costs already. We have to stop this. And on that note, that's why we've also introduced AB 286 which would order the PUC to reduce electricity rates by 30%. The PUC, instead of reducing people's costs, has been increasing people's costs. They've approved every rate increase that's come before them in the last year. 6 PG&E rate increases that they approved in the last year. It's time that the legislature start dictating to the agencies and the regulatory bodies that it's time to make California affordable. And that's how we can do that, by passing AB 286, which would order the PUC to now reduce rates for California consumers who have had enough already. So we are also introducing that legislation, and we hope that we can work together to get that passed and provide that much needed relief. And next up, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Assemblywoman Diane Dixon, who's going to talk about removing the tax on tips.
Good morning. As long as I've been in Sacramento, this is my 3rd year, our caucus has been trying. I introduced a couple of bills related to the gas tax in 2023. It never was heard in committee. My colleagues, we've done this. This is a repeat performance, but with more bills, more focus, additional focus. We will not stop the focus on creating an affordable living situation in California. This issue came forward in the election in November. It still rings true. It's the #1 issues Californians care about, and we are going to be working very hard with the entire legislature to move these bills because we care about people who are really suffering. So, and thank you for being here. Across California, millions of hardworking servers, bartenders, barbers, and hospitality workers, bartenders and barbers and even manicurists rely on tips to make ends meet. These are the people who put in long hours, provide excellent service, and depend on the generosity of their customers to take home a livable wage. But here's the problem. When they earn those tips, the state of California takes a large cut. In a state where the cost of living is already sky high, the highest in the nation, that's unacceptable. That is why we are proud to support AB 1443, a bill that will stop taxing tips and ensure that money stays where it belongs, in the hands and the wallets of those who earned it. Tipped employees aren't just wait staff and bartenders. They include hairdressers, taxi and rideshare drivers, hotel workers, and many other in the service industry. In fact, as of May 2023, there are over 4,200 taxi drivers and chauffeurs employed in California, and estimates suggest more than 300,000 rideshare drivers operate across the state, many relying on tips as a crucial part of their income. While California families struggle with inflation and rising costs, Sacramento continues to take in record tax revenues, only to waste billions on failed government programs and unfinished projects. Meanwhile, small businesses and independent workers are barely hanging on. We need to foster an environment where businesses and workers can thrive and not just survive. The government doesn't deserve to take a cut out of your tips. You earn them, you should keep them. AB 1443 will exclude tips from being taxed on income for the next 5 years, providing direct relief to workers and helping small businesses hire and retain staff. It will also remove unnecessary unemployment insurance costs tied to tips, reducing expenses for both employees and business owners. This is a common sense reform that will put real money back into the pockets of hardworking Californians. Next time you grab a cup of coffee, dine at a restaurant, take a ride share, go to the barber shop, go to the beauty parlor, think about person serving you and taking care of your needs. Should the government really be taking a piece of their hard-earned tips? We don't think so. It's time to stand up for workers. It's time to pass AB 1443. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember. And last up, I want to invite up my colleague in the Assembly, Assemblywoman Lori Davies.
Good morning. My name is Assemblymember Lori Davies, and I am the Vice Chair of Assembly Transportation Committee. You know, we promised to bring common sense solutions to you, but we also promised to let you know what's happening. And Californians are waking up to the point that they know what's happening. Every day, Californians go to the pump, and they leave realizing they have less and less to spend on their family. How can higher gas prices be the California dream? And how can Californians continue to accept the status quo? The supermajority claim they want to solve California's unaffordability issue. Yet just this week, they voted down a bill to stop the CARB regulation that would increase gas another possible 50 cents per gallon. It's textbook definition of hypocrisy, and they need to be held accountable for the crisis they created. The reality is, if the supermajority continue to raise and vote fees and increases into law, the only place you'll be able to drive to will be out of this state. Your voice matters, and your vote matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember. So as you see, we have several bills that we're introducing, all that would reduce costs for everyday Californians. We plan to go forward with these aggressively in the legislature. We will be introducing them. They'll be coming to committees, and we hope that, again, that we can get bipartisan support for these measures. These are much needed cost reductions that Californians need, from their gas to their housing to their tips. These are all things that we need, that we could do. And they are common sense measures that would help restore, some of that affordability back in California budgets. So thank you for your time this morning. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Okay. All right. No questions. That's good. So yeah, please be paying attention as we move forward with these measures. And we are hopeful, again, that we can pass these through. We have to. Californians are struggling too much from their everyday budgets, and we need to provide them that much needed relief. So thank you for being here this morning, and we look forward to pursuing these in the legislature. Thank you.